everybody. Brent Wheat from WildIndiana.com. We're coming to you from our studio, live in the middle of Tackletown at the 63rd Annual Ford Indianapolis Boat Sport and Travel Show. With me on this segment is our favorite guest, Tony Goff from Red Dirt Bait Company. And Tony, this is Tony's third appearance on our live stream.
This is kind of wacky. I don't know what to think about this. I don't normally get asked twice to come back. The third time's kind of a big anomaly for me.
Well, you're one of our favorite guests because you know what you're talking about, first of all, and you're entertaining. So we love to have you back. And actually, Tony suggested this topic, and when he brought it to me, I thought that is something we need to talk about. So today we're going to talk about boat ramp etiquette. And you know, it's funny, when I started talking to people about that after we scheduled the segment, I didn't realize, you talk about mushroom hunting, you start hearing a story, or you talk about deer hunting, you start hearing a story. As soon as you talk about stupid things you've seen at the boat ramp, everybody's got a story they want to tell you.
Everybody has seen somebody do something dumb out there, and normally it's not anything that they've done intentionally. It's just they forget to think.
Exactly. So as a longtime tournament angler and just an avid angler in general, you've been around a lot of boat ramps, and I'm sure you've made your share of mistakes that we won't go into. But experience is a hard teacher. But let's get down on the list then.
One of the first things I tell people is that because we fish bass tournaments and because a lot of bass fishermen, they're out fishing all the time. We can put 100 bass boats in the water in less than 15 minutes.
Yeah.
While Uncle, Dad, and Grandma and the triplets are bumbling around on the ramp for 2 hours.
Exactly.
In the way.
Sideways, blocking everything.
Yeah, they're taking up 4 lanes trying to get their ice out and everything. It's just,
it is. One of the cool things when you are launching, and sometimes it kind of makes you feel bad, when you got especially 2 guys that have been partners for a long time, boom, bang, boats in the water, no commotion. And away they go.
It's simple. And when my son was like 10 years old, I'd put him in my bass boat and say, when I get it right, I'll wave at you and you drive it up on a trailer. And him and I could do it in no time.
Exactly.
And he's 10 years old. It's not rocket science, folks.
It's not rocket surgery.
Think about it and just do it.
Yeah. So let's run down the list of some of the stuff that folks need to know about when they're loading and unloading their boat.
Well, the first thing I got is that, these guys they'll go buy a boat. They'll buy a $60,000 boat. They got no idea how to back it up.
Exactly.
Or drive with it or anything. So what I tell people on a Sunday evening, after you've bought the boat, whether it's nice out or rain or whatever, go hook up to your boat and take it over, drive to a bank, drive to a school, and get in the parking lot and just drive it around a little bit.
Exactly.
Back it up into parking spots, back it along the curb, do that kind of stuff. Get used to what you're doing.
Exactly.
It makes it a lot easier when you pull around to back it down at the ramp that you don't look like a nitwit trying to jackknife it 88 times before you can get it right.
Exactly.
The next thing I got is get stuff ready. If you're going to go fishing, if you're going to take your kids fishing, you may do it once or twice a year, 3 times a year, don't matter. Get your stuff ready. Don't be putting new line on your rods and reels in the parking lot.
Yeah.
That's just get your stuff ready. Act like you've got some sense and get it put together. The next thing is have everything in your boat. Once you pull in the parking lot, if you've got coolers and bait and life jackets and all that stuff in your truck or car, whatever it is, out of the way someplace, carry that around and put it in the boat.
Exactly.
That's where you're going to need it, so you just as well put it in there to start with.
Exactly. Every boat ramp I've ever been to, almost every boat ramp, they've got a couple of parking lots. Stop at that furthest away one where you're not in anybody's way, and then take all day long if you want.
Exactly.
But, when you're in line for that ramp, it's like Indy 500. You're next. Let's go.
That's right. And we're not going out there to mess around, just get it in the water.
Exactly.
The next thing is, and this is a big deal, especially for tournament fishermen, and I'll remind the tournament fishermen about this. When you're putting your boat in the dark, in the morning, turn your lights out.
Yep.
There's no reason that you need to have your headlights on shining up a boat ramp. The only thing it's doing is screwing up the guy beside you trying to get his stuff in.
Yep.
So turn your lights out. It's just a common courtesy.
Absolutely.
one of the big things that I tell guys, and the nice thing about it, the guys at Geist tell us this every time, whether you're in a bass boat, whether you're in a canoe, it don't matter. Do you have your plug in? How many people have you seen back their boat off the trailer and they get about 15 feet from and the partner's already driving up the ramp to get out, and they're standing up on the boat hollering, hey, back it down, back it down, back it down. I forgot to plug.
And, and something that you sometimes see, especially with folks that don't boat a lot, is as soon as that happens, they panic.
Absolutely.
And they just sit there and they sink.
Yep.
With most boats, I don't know if every single one is this way, but the majority of boats I've ever seen, if you give it some gas and you're moving, the boat will actually bail itself.
Exactly. Just go idle around. And everybody's got a cell phone. So take it out, idle it around. As long as you're idling around, the water's not going to get in the boat.
Exactly.
You're not going to get in lower. And you can put it in a straight line if you have to. Stick a sock or something in it to stop it for the time being.
Or your finger. It works.
Yeah, I mean, it ain't no big deal. Call your buddy and say,
I need you back
sorry,
here.
Dude, but you need to have to back it back down here.
Exactly.
Get it put on there and pulled up, put the plug in it, and go from there. I mean, it's not.
And another thing that I always do, it's kind of like, pilots who are highly trained professionals, they go through checklists and they cross-check each other.
Right.
I always did the same thing when we were launching the boat, is whether my buddy's driving or I'm driving, did you put the plug in? Yeah, I put the plug in. Did you put the plug in?
Yep.
And it's just, I'm not saying he's stupid I'm stupid, but you just got to double-check each other, because I don't care how many times you do something, every once in a while you'll just forget.
And that's the thing about it. You go through a deal, if you're like me, it's kind of all that stuff is second nature. And it's like driving down the road. I mean, you're listening to radio and you're watching, and you think, well, I don't remember seeing that part. It's the same way with the boat. You're doing your checklist and you're going through it, and you probably have done it, but you don't remember doing it.
Exactly.
So go back and do it again.
Yep.
Just to make sure that you got it done. I mean, it's not tough.
Yep. Well, on that same topic, we were talking, I think maybe on air yesterday or the day before, but you were saying how when you and your partner stop to get gas or whatever, you kind of have the same routine.
Exactly.
You walk around the boat, you check the axle or the hubs and all that stuff, and it's the same kind of thing. Get into a routine, do the same thing the same way every time, and then cross-check each other to make sure it gets done.
Yep. And I don't know how many times guys will pull up to the ramp and get ready to put the boat in, or they'll back it in, and take their time and do it, before the tournament starts, and somebody will come up and they'll get to talking to them, and you'll forget one part of it or something like that. There's a lot of guys, and I've seen professionals do it. They got two straps on the back, or they got their motor toter on the back of it, and they get to talking and they just forget
to do it. Yep.
So they back it off down in the water, and you wind up spinning it around, and it ain't good.
It ain't good.
It makes you look like a monkey down there whenever you're doing it. One of the things that I absolutely tell people is to understand how your kill switch works.
Yep.
Because if you don't, you're not going to start the boat.
Exactly.
If the key's in it, and that's another thing, put the key in it before you get down and back it off in the lake. Because if you find the key and you're floating around and you bump into somebody, there's going to be a fight.
Yeah. Exactly.
So make sure the kill switch, you understand how the kill switch works, and you're using it, and make sure you know that the key is in the boat when you back it off in the water.
Yep.
The next thing I would say is get out of the way. Once you get done, you get the boat off the trailer, tell your buddy to go park. Get it out of the way. You don't have to sit around and make sure it's running.
Exactly.
The same thing when you come in. Put the boat on the trailer. Pull it up the ramp. If you want to put the nose strap on it, that's fine. If not, I don't know of too many ramps that you actually have to strap the front down around here.
Yep.
Now, there's some steep ones at Kentucky Lake and different places I've been that it's probably best to strap put the nose strap on it before you pull it up.
Yeah.
But that boat ain't going to go anyplace. So just run it up on a trailer and pull it up and get out of the way. Go to the end of the parking lot. Don't pull up 20 feet. Just because the boat's out of the water don't mean you can stop and strap everything down, carry it around and put it back in the truck, drink your last beer and all that stuff. Get up, get out of the way. It's not that tough.
Exactly.
90% of this stuff is just courtesy. I mean, you want the people to do it to you like you want it done.
Exactly.
So And the other thing is, and I've told a lot of people this, if you'd pay me $100, I'd come out and show you how to operate this stuff. I'll meet you at the ramp. I'll take you out. I'll show you how to trim and tilt, how to back it in. You float a boat off a trailer, you drive it on a trailer.
Yep.
How many times have you been to the ramp and you seen a guy neck deep in the water trying to get the bow stop right?
Exactly.
Well, you don't have to do that.
Yep. Exactly. And, something that I was always blessed when I was working full-time was my days off generally were in the middle of the week.
Right.
So, that was something, and I've actually seen people do this if they got a new boat and they're not real sure what they're doing. Go out in the middle of the week or sometime, Saturday morning, especially at Monroe or some of the big lakes, there's going to be a line, and it better move pretty quick. That's not the time to be fiddle messing around with.
That's right.
Figure, is this how the kill switch works? Or is this, honey, no, you got to turn the wheel the opposite way. That's not the time for that.
Well, and that's, these guys are selling these people, but everybody wants to go on the water. I mean, like we talked about the other day, there's more folks using Indiana waters than there is anybody else.
Yep.
Or any place else. So it's busy. I mean, it is just dadgum busy out there.
Yep.
Well, Saturday morning or Sunday morning or 3 o'clock on Saturday afternoon ain't the time to go out and start practicing this
Exactly.
stuff. That's I mean, you're going to get a lot of people mad at you. They're going to want to throw bottles at you when you get done.
And another point that I would add to yours, this isn't an etiquette point so much as a safety issue of when things happen, don't panic. I see that all the time. We talked about it when the plug isn't in, but same thing if the car starts sliding a little bit into the water, or there's so many things when it doesn't go like it's supposed to and you're getting a little nervous. Calm down, figure it out. It'll only go real bad real fast as if you panic.
Absolutely. Stop, take a deep breath. Okay, what have I done? What do I got to do to get out of this?
Exactly.
Some of this stuff is so simple. The biggest thing that I see out there 90% of the time is guys don't know how to rectify a problem.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, they have a checklist that they go through. They do this, and this. If you take one of those out of that system, they're lost. They don't know what to do. They'll get in the truck and start to back it up. And the first thing they do when they pull around and going to back it up is turn the steering wheel.
Right.
They don't know where they're turning, where they're going, or anything else. Move a little and turn it and see which direction it's going.
Yeah.
There's so many people that'll back up and they'll jackknife. Oh crap! I did it wrong. And they'll pull up and they'll turn it the same way again.
Yep.
So it's these guys, these boat manufacturers and boat companies, they sell boats and everybody wants to be on the water. A lot of times they don't get a lot of instruction.
Oh, absolutely.
Whenever they buy a new boat.
Yep.
They don't understand how the bilge pump works. They don't understand how the live well works and how to load and unload and what needs to be strapped up. They don't understand the trim and tilt on it. They don't understand their electronics. So, like I say, you pay me, I'll come out and show you how to do all this
Exactly.
stuff.
And I think part of it, too, is the manufacturers especially have done such a great job of it's total freedom and relaxation and everybody can do it. And that's true, except you got to realize when you're on the water, you're in a life safety situation.
Exactly.
It doesn't seem like that, but especially you put kids and friends on the boat, you're responsible for their well-being. So you got to check and make sure the motor runs and the lights work and the plugs in and all that.
Absolutely. And one of the big things, and friends and I have talked about this quite a bit. You have to have a CDL license to drive a semi. You got to go through some training. You got to have a motorcycle endorsement and go through some training to drive a motorcycle.
Right.
You can buy a boat and you can go run 75 or 80 mile an hour with it.
Exactly.
In something that has no brakes and nobody cares.
Yeah.
I don't understand why the state, and it's another one of them things that they could make a little money at this.
Yeah.
They charge $10 and have somebody to set up a little course and they go through it. They learn the boating rules. They learn how to pass a boat. They learn at night how to navigate around them.
Yeah.
They know what port and starboard means.
What?
They know what forward and rear means. Why there's green and red lights on the bow of it.
Exactly.
There's so many people that just don't have any idea what that is.
Yeah.
So that's the frustrating part.
Absolutely.
And a lot of the fishermen that I fish around and stuff, they understand that, and they watch out for it.
Yeah.
So they know that there's going to be a bunch of knuckleheads out there that don't have any idea, or they're going to be about half drunk.
Yep.
And
that's
thinking
another
that they
giant
can't,
thing.
Yeah. DNR stops you, you can get arrested for drunk driving a boat the same as you do your automobile.
Absolutely. And I had an interesting situation. It's been several years ago, but I was doing a story with some buddies of mine that are COs, and I went on lake patrol, and I can't remember if it was Lake Freeman or Schaefer, but I spent the day with them. And I know a lot of people like to have a cocktail while they're boating. I personally don't think it's a good idea, but I get that a lot of folks do. But I was really amazed at the amount of alcohol that people are consuming while they're driving boats.
Crazy.
And doing crazy stuff, putting their kids with their feet hanging over the bow of the pontoon boat, and they're obviously not 2 beers in, they're a half a case in.
Exactly.
And it seemed like everybody we stopped was that way. And it's just, again, I've got no notions of everybody's following the law, but it was just amazing to me.
And I think boating is the same with guns. I mean, you're not going to go to the gun range with a high-powered rifle and a bottle of whiskey.
Exactly.
So why are you getting in a boat with a case of beer and take a chance of? I mean, every year, Geist or Morse, and that's just 2 of the lakes in Indiana. One or the other of them has a near fatality or has a fatality. Somebody either falls off the boat and they get backed over because they're drunk and they can't negotiate, they can't swim and they're out there drunk, or they run into somebody else's boat, they run over somebody. I mean, we fish a lot of night tournaments out there, and it gets kind of hairy out there in the summertime.
Absolutely. That's, I mean, I got to admit, like Monroe, I'm down there quite a bit, and some of the other lakes. I generally, even though now, I've pretty much got a lot of free time, I try not to go on the weekends just because of the and it's generally not guys like you're talking about, like tournament anglers that they're on the water a lot. No problem with them. It's the yahoos that this is their big weekend out, and they're going to pack as much fun and alcohol as they can into it. And, we could sit here for hours and tell horror stories of near misses we've seen and times when, I was
on cars we've seen back down a ramp and up to the passenger windows.
Exactly.
In the lake,
Well, basically the overall point of what you said was courtesy. Be courteous.
Exactly.
Realize that you're not the only one. You're just one of many that are trying to use that ramp, and just kind of have your act together, and don't use more time than you need to, and just kind of think about it before you do it.
Exactly. I mean, like I said before, it's not rocket science. So, just be curious. Think about what you're doing. How's this going to affect this, and go from there. I mean, just use your head.
Exactly. Now,
and I don't want to sound like the tournament anglers are the only ones that know what's going on.
No, not at all.
By no means is that the case, because I've seen some tournament anglers that are some idiots too.
Sure.
I mean,
every group has them.
Well, yeah. I mean, you get guys that want to run fast in the idle zone because I got to pass that guy to get to my spot first, or they cut them off, they get around them, and they don't give enough room when they cut back in front of them.
Yep.
So don't get the impression that I'm defending tournament anglers.
Sure.
We do stupid stuff too from time to time. But as a whole, the less educated you are, the more problems you're going to have.
Absolutely. So to end this segment, we were kind of laughing. We got to tell some stories. So, and again, we could do this for hours, but I'll start with mine. My favorite boat ramp story was I was on the Tippecanoe River up in Monticello, and we were coming back, had a good day fishing, and I see a car kind of crossways at the ramp when we get there, and I couldn't figure out what was going on, and as I got a little bit closer, there was a guy in a station wagon sitting right at the edge of the water crosswise on the ramp, and he was fishing out of his car. And we get to the ramp, and he's just he keeps casting. I'm like,
that's
dude,
perfect.
I kind of need that ramp, There's lots of places to go. And he was like, okay, hey, sorry, bud. It's like, I suppose, if he took off straight and kept his line in the water, he'd be trolling or something.
Probably so, I guess. At least he, had the courtesy to realize that he was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah, finally.
And give you some help to get out of there.
Yeah.
Well, one of the classic ones that I saw at Geist one night was a fellow showed up and he was going to go catfishing. He had a 14-foot aluminum boat. Well, he left the nose tied on, and he's got about a 30-foot rope tied to the bow and to the bow stop of the trailer.
Uh-huh.
And he backed it off in the water, and normally whenever they do that, they just let it float off. They pull up a little bit so they can get a hold of the rope, Then they pull the boat around. And the other thing is, once you put your boat in, you don't have to stay there. Get out of the way.
Yeah.
So he come around and he was talking to somebody. Somebody he knew came down there and they got to talking. Well, there wasn't anybody he was holding up, so it wasn't that big a deal.
Yeah.
So he got back in his truck and he was going to go park. Well, the boat's still fastened to the trailer and it's floating out in the water, and he just drove up the hill. Well, he drug it about 30 feet up the ramp before the noise finally hit, and we were hollering at him and all kinds. So it took about 15 or 16 of us to get on the sides of that boat and pick it up and carry it back down to the water. But,
yeah. Right before he discovered what was going on, he had to look in the rear. Wonder why that guy in the boat's following so closely.
Well, and it's a guy that has fished a lot. He's been out there a lot. He does this. It's second nature and all that stuff.
And you get sidetracked.
You just, you forget from time to time what you're doing. And
absolutely.
It don't end well.
Exactly. Well, great advice from our favorite guest, Tony Goff. Tony is Red Dirt Bait Company. Mm-hmm. How can they get information about Red Dirt?
Get a hold of me. Go to the internet. We're on the World Wide Web, www.reddirtbaits.com. Then give me a call at 317-691-5389. If you have a question on your boat or trailer or how to load it and unload it, give me a call. I'll be more than happy to come out and help you.
What an offer from the man, Tony Goff. Well, on behalf of Tony, I'm Brent Wheat, publisher of WildIndiana.com, here at the massive broadcast facility from Wild, Indiana, in the center of tackle.
I tell you what, I want to interrupt you, man.
Okay.
I want to tell you guys that this week down here, with you guys being down here and being able to talk, there's some big shots from the outdoor industry that you guys have had in here.
Yeah,
I mean Hank Parker and Jacob and Melissa Bachman yesterday.
Yeah.
And I didn't get a call about that. Say, hey, come down, Melissa's down here.
She's a very nice person, and she is rather attractive if you've
Thanks
noticed.
for the heads up. I appreciate that.
Okay. Well, we'll try to help you out next year.
I just want to say thanks to you guys for coming down and doing this. This has been pretty nice.
I appreciate that. We've had a great time, and the viewership numbers are crazy great. So I think everybody's very happy with it. And I hope the viewers at home are getting something out of it. I think they are. They seem to be. They keep coming back, and they keep coming back to Tony Goff.
I'm like a bad penny. I keep coming down here.
Oh, well, again, thanks, Tony. And we've got a lot more guests coming up today from the final day of the 63rd Annual Ford Indianapolis Boat Sport and Travel Show. We will see you later.